Times are definitely changing, guys. Now, to say it's getting harder, you can have a defeatist view on it. That's not the sort of people we're looking for today, guys. You need people that are still willing to have a go, are still willing to throw themselves at the walls of the castle. Look outside the box of how everything's formulated today. You can't follow the same patterns. They're not working. Times have changed. Those patterns that once worked for our parents, our grandparents, they're not working for us anymore. So we've really got to start looking at new approaches. I've always been a proponent of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. He has now, it's been out for a while, but he's also written The Art of Business, which is basically the same principles he used in The Art of War in The Art of Business. Now, there is no rule book set that says this is how you got to do it. Like the basic people that they're pumping out of university have got a very set mindset in how things have got to be done. Now I'm going to be criticized for saying this. Change your mindset. Start doing things differently. I'm looking at people, accountants. I'm looking at accountants and they're telling me this is how you got to do this. And literally all they're doing for me is putting figures where they're supposed to be putting them. That's it. That's all they're doing. And I'm paying good money for it. And it's a load of shit. Sure, I need them to do that, but do I need them for advice? No, I don't need them for Did my family use them for advice? No, they didn't use them for advice. And they were a very successful business family. Okay? They're retired. But they were a very successful business family. They were telling the accountants what to do, not the accountants telling them what to do. Okay? Now, I believe you still can make money out of a lot of things, but you're going to have to use a completely different mindset. If you can see that hurling your bodies at the front gate over and over again in a system that's teaching you how to operate to make it easier for them to manipulate you, right? You're doomed to failure. You're going to get fried. Right? You've got to start looking outside the box of how to do things. Not only do you look at doing things outside the box, you have to start doing things outside the box. All right? Think of a way to do something, do it. You might fail, so what? So what? You do it again. Do you know, Genghis Khan started as a young slave. He had a lot of failures on his way up to the top, but the thing is, it never stopped him. It never stopped him. And he became who he became. I'm not saying he was a good guy. That's another thing. Don't expect you're going to look at these past leaders and they're good guys. They're nice. None of them were nice. They were conquerors. But times change. I'm not saying you've got to be a bastard or a bitch. I'm not saying that. But you've got to have a conqueror's mentality. Now, I was listening to someone saying, oh, can we put Australians back up to being, what they once were? Not if you're going to cry about everything. Sorry, but not if you're going to sit there and go, oh, everything's cruel to me. People are doing, no. Start thinking outside the box. Start doing things. Formulate a little team. I formulated one out of my family to begin with. Do I want to grow on that? Yes, I do. But you're obviously not going to get along with everyone you meet up with. Right? You're looking for those team members that slot into your little team that's already doing okay. All right? You're looking for team members that are going to slot in and fit in pretty well. Now, you're always going to meet a group of people that you get along very well with. Not easy to find, but it's doable. It's easier at work because You go to work, you meet these people, you have to work with them, you have to meet with them, and suddenly you start building a relationship with them. You become mates, you become friends, so that's a start. Now, my young blokes, they're still very close with the school group, and there's some pretty ambitious kids there. Draw them in. They're all working now. My kids and their friends, they're all over. The youngest, some of his friends are going through university. They're just starting career. My eldest, his kids are already pretty well established. All right. Some of them are very ambitious. They're the ones you want to sit down with. They're the ones you want to start doing business with. All right. But safe way to do it, start with your family. And paperwork. I've seen one girl, she's a property manager, and if any of you guys rent, I seen her in the property court, whatever you call that, I can't remember anymore, but she left school at 16, but her paperwork was meticulous. Now, she could go into a room, and even though she should lose, she wins every single bloody time. Right or wrong, she wins. Because her paperwork is perfection. And it's the same as today, not much different. You do something, you start playing with money. You say to a group, oh, let's make an investment team, let's buy coins or something. Your paperwork has got to be perfect. Even if you have to say to a lawyer, if it gets to the point where there's nothing wrong with you and your kids or your family members, 3 family members get together. They're all employed. Rightio, let's go buy a gold coin. Oh, that's a stupid investment. No, it's not a stupid investment. I've just doubled my money on gold coins. Purchase at the right time, listening to the right people. There's no problem. I don't worry about myself too much because whatever I do goes to my kids. Now, I'm working on getting this into their system where they can take over from it. To get this train of thought, which my parents had when they came here, but they were fighters, they were gritty, they were, how should I say it? They were street smart. Right? They weren't university smart, but they were street smart. All right, and that's what we've got to bring back. All right, guys, everyone take it easy, and we chat soon.